iconic image of Jackie Robinson signing the contract with Branch Rickey, known for his speed, his elegance, his grace. How do you not think of the great Jackie Robinson when the Dodgers come to town? All those shots, of course, with the Robinson Rotunda here at Citi Field, where he was honored with a giant 42, and where the Dodgers and Mets get set to face off one more time tonight here in Flushing. It is the Dodgers and the Mets. Citi Field in Queens on SNY tonight as the Mets look to take Game 2 of this three-game series. Hi, everyone. I'm Kevin Burkhardt. Welcome to the ballpark. One thing we know about this Mets team, the offense has been up and down. They struggled a little bit lately. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games, and after that explosion at Yankee Stadium, it's quieted down for sure. They're looking to get the bats going. But we do know this. Pitching promise. They've got plenty of it in the organization, and none more evident than this week when it's really all been on display. You look at the guys, our candidates, I like to call them. Zach Wheeler, he's already made 27 Major League starts, and at age 23, he's shown some great promise. How about Rafael Montero? They got the start last night. Making his debut in the Subway Series against the Yankees, more than held his own, struggled a bit last night. One of the key parts of his future at 23 years old. And then Jacob deGrom making his second big league start tonight. He's 25 years old, and you can't pitch any better than he did. 7 innings, 1 run his last time out against the Yankees. We know this team is built on young pitching, even with Matt Harvey on the DL. More to come with Noah Syndergaard. But I want to bring Ron Darling in. And Ron, I want to get your take here. We know young pitching. We see the promise. We've seen it on display. But sometimes it takes a little time. You hit a little speed bumps with those guys. What have you seen overall from these 3 guys so far?
Well, Kevin, you make a great point. I think that is some of the growing pains that comes with having young pitching. If you take the senior of the young guys, Zach Wheeler, I thought he had an outstanding year last year. But I think what happens for a young guy sometimes, you hear so much talk about being able to command your secondary pitches, being able to throw them behind in the count, that sometimes you lose the foundation, the basics of throwing your fastballs to spots, and also being able to get ahead of the hitters. Rafael Montero, to me, is a strike thrower, so he's not throwing as many strikes. That just tells me that there's nerves. He's had an inability to keep the ball in the ballpark, too. That has hurt him. I'm sure that's going to change over the course of time. And what do you talk about Jacob deGrom? I mean, he was as perfect could be, other than taking the loss after giving up 1 run. But he was so impressive. You had to love the way that he was able to throw his fastball for strikes. I didn't know his slider was that good, but it was against the Yankees, and also they could change him.
Yeah, Ronnie, the former shortstop from Stetson University did all right for himself his last start. There's no doubt about that. You know, it's hard to group all these 3 guys together. They are different. They have different arsenals, as you pointed out. But if we could look at it in kind of an umbrella going forward, what would tell us about their growth? What would tell us that they're getting better, and what are you looking for?
Well, Kevin, I think that umbrella for all of them moving forward, and it's hard to criticize what deGrom's done so far, is always fastball command. When you think about hitters that come up at an early age, what are you thinking about? If they can't hit the fastball, their promise is going to be fleeting. It's the same thing for pitchers. If you can command your fastball to both sides of the plate and make sure you keep that in your mind, then that's the foundation of everything that you do, and it really gets you out of tough spots when you need it.
Well, we talked about the Mets offense. They've got a challenge tonight. Hyunjin Ryu is off the DL, and he's coming back from shoulder soreness, Ron. He's got 4 starts on the road. He hasn't allowed a run yet. Just how big is he to the Dodgers' plans this year?
Well, I think he's huge. You watch Josh Beckett, more of a 5 or 6 inning pitcher now, not the guy he once was. So Ryu plays a big part, 14 wins last year, and the first South Korean to pitch in the postseason. He is outstanding when he's got his control.
All right, so it's Ryu coming off the DL, the tough lefty facing Jacob deGrom, his second Major League start. It's the Dodgers and the Mets on a nice night in New York. First pitch is coming up next. Purpose to stand apart. The 2014 Lexus IS. It's your move. By the New York State Smokers Quit Line. By Geico. By State Farm. Today's State Farm agent of the day is John Garfinkel of Brooklyn. Contact John's office at johngarfinkel.com. And brought to you by Chrysler. Visit your local dealer today for great deals on the entire stylish lineup, including the Chrysler 200. You can follow every Mets game with MLB.com at bat for your favorite mobile phone or a tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit Mets.com today. So it will be the second Major League start for Jacob deGrom as he gets set to face the Dodgers. Gary, Ron, and Keith have the call. We come back.
For the Dodgers tonight, Jose Juan Uribe went on the disabled list, and so Justin Turner, the former Met, gets a start at third base tonight. Otherwise, the same unit that put up 9 runs and 15 hits last night. And tonight they'll go up against the rookie right-hander Jacob deGrom, making his second start.
Or as I like to call him, the third Weaver brother. He does a little bit like Jeff and Jared Weaver. He was outstanding in his last start. I mean, think about it. To go 7 innings, only give up a run against the Yankees. He was dominant at times, started a little slow, and then was great after that, and try to double up today.
Keith thought you were talking about Charlie Weaver from Mount Ida.
Oh, no. He's got a sore spot for that.
I'd actually want to thank you, Ron, for you and Kevin doing the open today.
Okay.
I got a little nap in.
It was very refreshing. Thank you. D. Gordon will lead things off. 1 for 5 last night, drove in a run. deGrom, who went 7 strong in his first start, begins his second with a fastball too high for ball 1. Gordon, Puig, and Ramirez for the Dodgers in the top of the first. Dodgers 2 games over 500 with their win last night. Right in on the grass, and Campbell back at first base against the bunt threat of Gordon, who tried twice last night to bunt his way on, was thrown out both times.
So, Keith, another major sports outlet must be doing the game tonight.
I got the camera in front of me. Whenever we have, what is it, ESPN?
Yeah.
So the cameraman's right in front of my view here. I feel like Ted Knight in Caddyshack. Looking around the lamp.
Think of it as though you were in an old-time ballpark. You know, the
obstructed view,
Fenway Park or Yankee Stadium before they renovated it, where they had the poles, and sometimes you get a seat behind the pole, and you kind of have to duck and weave to watch the game.
I remember that.
Here's the ESPN cameraman on the left, our buddy Al on the right in his normal spot,
like
only blocking part of my view. Here's the 2-1 to Gordon, and he lifts one out to right field. And Granderson ranges over. And that's the first out of the night.
And that will segue from that catch there. That mechanic Del Monte right into the New York Metropolitan Lexus defense. And right into the outfield, too. Lagares back in the lineup with his gold glove. He hasn't won one yet, but his glove sure shines. Flores, another start, looking for offense. The Mets. Record behind the plate after a night off.
Lagares got back to the ballpark today about 4:30, coming back from the Dominican Republic, where he was at the funeral for his aunt who raised him. So there's some question as to whether he was going to get back in time, but he is here and in center field. Here's Yasiel Puig, who made quite an impact last night. He was on base 5 times, 3 hits, a hit batsman, a walk. He hit a bullet off the fence in right field that almost put a hole in the fence.
That was the double to right field in the 6th, and it was a seed, as we used to say. I don't know if they call that today. The same thing.
Drove in a run last night. He's got 36 RBIs, second in the National League. And the slider from DeGrom misses 2-0.
For Puig, it probably a linea.
Yes, that's right. A linea.
Puig hitting a .333, 4th in the league. DeGrom unlucky in his first start, gave up just 1 run, but that was enough to beat him.
It's an interesting webbing that DeGrom has in his glove, Ronnie, and I think every pitcher should probably use it. Completely hides the ball. There's no gaps in between.
Yeah.
So your ball is completely hidden. So when you go in for your grip,
he also has the sheath on his forefinger, so you won't see that flap around.
Yep.
Pitchers can sometimes give away their pitches with that pointer finger.
Puig dials up the fastball at 94, 2-2.
So we'll get a shot here of when Puig starts to come and take his take back. He starts right now, and that's about right. And we should probably next time, guys, we'll do that again and then freeze it on the point of release and then see where he's at right when the ball leaves his hand. It's all the timing mechanism. I'm relying on my award-winning director in the truck.
Well, what was your key as a hitter? When would you begin your take back?
It's all timing, Garrett, and it's something that's natural, and when you start it, and that's what the guys with the herky-jerky motions, Doyle Alexander for me, Rick Sutcliffe, if they had herky-jerky motion, it threw me off. I really had to wait an extra second longer, or as opposed to Steve Carlton with that beautiful motion, I was able to get a rhythm on Steve.
3-2 from DeGrom, and Puig fouls off the fastball.
Well, here we go now, and we'll see the take back. He starts it now, and the point of release almost. He's ready to attack.
Did you see, though, when he brings the ball back to DeGrom, when he steps back, Puig's right hand opens, and it releases the bat and then closes as he's about to deliver. Again, Keith, like you said last night, to relieve that tension.
It's an interesting little toe tap that Puig has, too, in his stride. It's not like David Wright's.
Laced to center, but Lagares right there, and that's the second out. So Puig continues to hit the ball hard every time up.
He's got a beautiful swing. This man is on his way to stardom if he's not already there. And here we go again. Look, watch his front foot.
It raises as DeGrom is landing.
And then he toe taps right there, almost turns the sole of his shoe to face the pitcher almost.
And DeGrom with that 4-seam delivery, trying to get it inside. Didn't quite get it there. Maybe got away with one.
So 2 out and nobody on. Puig retired, and Hanley Ramirez the batter. Hanley 1 for 5 last night.
I think Puig was in there talking with hitting coach Mark McGuire. They have 2 pitching coaches and 2 hitting coaches, the Dodgers. Boy, they got They got a salary, let me tell you.
Their assistant hitting coach is John Valentin, a former Met.
There's Mark McGuire.
I didn't know Valentin was a former Met. Wow.
That's your dark period.
Yeah.
Flores comes in on the grounder. And a perfect throw to get Ramirez, and DeGrom has himself a 1-2-3 inning to start the night. Mets come to bat against Hyunjin Ryu when we come back. A little different look. Juan Lagares into the leadoff spot. Eric Campbell gets a start against the left-hander. Wilmer Flores, a second straight start at shortstop. Anthony Recker, after sitting the last two. Behind the plate is the Dodgers. Lefty Hyunjin Ryu comes back from the disabled list.
6'2", 255 pounds, 14 wins last year, 27 years old.
And Juan Lagares takes a strike. Lagares just back from the Dominican. His 2 games over the weekend in Washington, went 3 for 8 with 4 RBIs, and you see his numbers against lefties there, second only to David Wright. And Ryu quickly ahead of him 0-2. Now the Mets faced Ryu twice during his rookie year last year, and he was dominant.
Yeah, he's got a great fastball if he's spotting it. His outstanding pitch is his changeup. He can throw it on any count, and he's got a good breaking ball against lefties and righties. He is a fully evolved pitcher.
Because of that changeup, he tends to be more effective against right-hand hitters than against left-hand hitters, which made it a little curious that Lucas Duda is sitting tonight and Eric Campbell's playing in his spot.
Well, it brings to mind the left-handers with great changeups. John Tudor with the Cardinals.
Glavine,
Glavine, of course.
You know what, though, I will say, I'm happy to see Campbell in there because he deserves to be in there. Every time he comes up, he hits a bullet.
I was thinking maybe you could start Duda at first, play Campbell in left.
There you go.
Might have been a way to go tonight. And the changeup strikes out Lagares. The toss by Ellis to complete the putout, 1 away.
And we'll take a look at the Dodgers defense. That's brought to you by Coors Light. Same group out there. That Yasiel Puig, he is something else. What a cannon he's got. He hasn't displayed it in the first game.
He did, but there were 3 out.
You're right. Does that not count?
Yes.
You know, Keith, the one kind of underrated because he made him look easy. Crawford covered a lot of ground in last night's game.
He was well placed.
Yeah.
We made that nice catch on right over in the gap, and then a nice play going toward the line against Eric Young.
And Daniel had a really unusual game. I mean, Murph's been as solid as and consistent as any Met, not any Met, the most consistent. He had a tough night last night. Struck out his last 3 times at bat.
His 0 for 5 snapped a 10-game hitting streak, and he takes the curveball outside.
Murph last night had a beard working. You ask any hitter, if they go 0 for, the beard is gone.
David Wright on deck. Well, for Ryu, his first inning is generally his most troubling inning. Curveball smacked the other way, and Daniel Murphy's got himself another opposite field hit. So an 0 for 5 last night. He gets a new hitting streak started tonight.
Well, you're a 2-hitter here early. Daniel's not a home run hitter. He's a table setter. As long as that's a good curveball in a good spot, and that's just good hitting.
Key is he didn't try to pull it. He went with it. You pull that, it's a 4-3.
As long as Daniel's hitting in that 2-hole, he's a table setter.
So David Wright comes up with a man on. David 1 for 5 last night. That's the top batting average in the National League against left-hand pitchers, hitting .455 against lefties and 12 for his last 18 against lefties. And he takes a strike. And this is what I remember from Ryu last year. First pitch strikes virtually every at bat, and it forced the Mets eventually to start swinging earlier in the count because he was constantly ahead.
Did you say 12 for his last 18?
12 for his last 18 against lefties.
Sometimes you say stats, they go through.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've got to hear them again.
Well, I'm not telling you that all those balls were hit hard.
It doesn't matter. 12 for 18 is 12 for 18.
I mean, he faced Gio Gonzalez the other day, and he didn't hit a ball hard, but he got a hit against him. Ryu's ahead of him 0-2. Elvis sets up inside, and David got jammed, but stays off at 1-2.
That's the thing that separates Ryu from a lot of other lefties. He will pound the right-handed hitters in to set up that changeup away.
And he's very tough to run on.
Just missed.
Only 2 stolen bases allowed in his major league career, and that covers all of last year and the first 7 starts this year.
Doesn't have a great move, but he has a great slide step. He gets rid of the ball very quickly.
It's the only hat with the multicolor with the button on top that's white that I like. The Dodgers. I like that white button.
Strike 3 called as he paints the outside. Popped him inside twice and then found the outside corner for his second strikeout.
Got to think that maybe David in the back of his mind had the changeup right on top of the plate, and that's paint.
You know, we talked about it last night, the ability to pitch inside. Ryu throws 2 balls inside, and that ball in the outside corner, I bet you it looked like it was 6 inches outside to David because he's so conscious of what's in, and that ball hit right on the corner.
So 2 out Murphy at first. Now Chris Young batting cleanup tonight. Young's hitting only .158 against lefties this year. And he takes the curveball down for ball 1. It's been tough times for Chris. His batting average down to .212 for the year. 6 hits in his last 45 at bats. And Ryu comes to that inside corner 1-1.
Well, Ryu is establishing in.
And Angel Hernandez is calling strikes. He's aggressive. So everyone in both dugouts has got to say to himself, okay, the home plate umpire is hunting strikes. He's going to call strikes. We're going to have to be a little more aggressive tonight. I hope.
I just think, we talk about the speed of the game today, and I just think that they should just go by the letter of the law, and that the rule book says that it's at the letters is a strike, at the knees, and call it.
Another rookie umpire, Stu Sherwater. First time we've seen him on the crew tonight. Curtis Granderson hitting 5th in the order tonight against the lefty. Eric Campbell behind him. And Young lays off the changeup. 3-1.
Kind of a well documented 4 hours and 8 minutes last night.
Right.
And you say to yourself, boy, I bet you the umpire the next day is not going to let that happen. I think umpires are kind of like tigers have their own stripes. Angel Hernandez is that kind of umpire. He's aggressive, likes to call strikes, and usually angers both sides at some point with his aggressiveness.
Oh, there was only one umpire that was vocal, and it was Frank Pulley. And Frank Pulley was a very good umpire. He was a pitcher's umpire, but he was fair, and he'd say, boys, I'm not paid by the clock. I'm not paid for overtime. Swing the bat.
Some umpires can carry that too far, and we had that in the 90s where the outside corner all of a sudden expanded by 8 inches, especially when the Braves were pitching. Murphy runs and Young pops it up. They converge behind the mound, and the big guy takes it. That's Hanley Ramirez, side retired.
A hit and 1 left.
No score. Game. Just go to SNY.TV, click on the link, and join the conversation. It's Chat Live with Bob Ojeda, presented by Verizon, only on SNY.TV. Drive Around the Majors brought to you by Honda this afternoon. Bottom of the 13th, Al Albuquerque balks. He pulled a DJ Carrasco.
Oh.
And the Indians beat the Tigers 11-10.
Oh, there's no Al Albuquerque.
Well, Alberto. Shin-Soo Choo and Elvis Andrus both homered, and the Rangers 4-3 went over the Mariners. Joey Votto on the DL, Jay Bruce off the DL for the Reds, who lead Washington 2-1 in the 8th in a rain-delayed game in D.C. Adrian Gonzalez leads off in the 2nd. Gonzalez had a big night last night. Single, double, home run, 2 RBIs, 8 hits in his last 12 at-bats. It's a Dodger lineup full of high-priced stars, and they played like it last night. Puig had a big night. Gonzalez had a big night. Crawford had a good night. Kemp had a good night.
Power numbers are back for Gonzalez. He's had a sore shoulder and really went to a lighter bat because he could not handle. He usually swings a pretty heavy bat for today's game, a long bat. And when he had the sore shoulder, he had to go to a much lighter bat and smaller bat as far as length. And now that his shoulder is 100%, he's back to his old bat, and it actually said it made him a better 2-strike hitter.
0-2 from DeGrom, and he goes away with a changeup, 1-2. Would the lighter bat enable him to pull more?
No, he was spraying the ball more. He said he could not, with his sore shoulder, he could not swing that bat, the heavier bat, and the long bat. So he went shorter and spread out more. And he said I used the field more and didn't try to hit for power. And he goes, now that I'm healthy, I use that in 2-striker. But it's typical 2-strike hitting, isn't it? Good old-fashioned 2-strike hitting. They're playing him the opposite field. You see the defense right there. Granderson way over in the gap.
He's got great opposite field power. We've certainly seen that over the years from Gonzalez. 11 home runs, 32 RBIs, top 5 in the league in both categories. 1-2 from DeGrom, and he hits it deep down the right field line. That is well out of here. Up into the Pepsi porch. Gonzalez homers for the second straight night, his 12th of the year. The Dodgers go up 1-0.
I would like to see what his career numbers are against the Mets. Every time it seems like he's doing damage, no matter what uniform he has on.
Well, like Gary said, 8 hits in his last 12 at bats.
Yeah,
so
9 for 13.
9 for 13, locked in right now. When he's locked in, look at him, that smile. It's like, yeah, I am. I'm sorry. I am red hot. I apologize. That's how it goes.
No apologies.
You know, Anthony Recker called for that ball up in the strike zone. Jacob DeGrom threw it exactly where he wanted to. He still hit it out of the ball.
And that's, you know what, you tip your hat. Someone's red hot. He just was real quick up and in.
I wouldn't tip my cap. I'd be a Recker. What are you thinking back there?
Now Matt Kemp, 2 for 4 last night.
Well, here you're going to see when he starts his take back. He's got the bat in his shoulder. There he goes back. About the same time, a little bit earlier than Puig.
Hits.
And there you go. That ball didn't. It was up and in. He's just off the plate.
High fly ball, deep right center. Back goes Granderson. He'll have room. And makes the catch a couple of strides from the wall.
Now, can I say one thing right here? We're going to show Gonzalez again. This is not a bad pitch.
Oh, no, he hit the glove. That's where Recker wanted the pitch. Exactly there.
That's just good hitting.
And you just don't see left-hand hitters hit that pitch.
Except he's a left-handed thrower. I tell you this all the time. Left-handed thrower, strong arm is his left arm. Left-handed throwers can get on top of the high ball. Remember that.
I'll try to.
And don't forget it.
So now Carl Crawford, who wreaked some havoc last night. Couple of hits, couple of stolen bases. Looking like the Carl Crawford of 10 years ago. So his 12th home run for Gonzalez. The cold hard facts brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Move him into a second place tie, one behind Troy Tulowitzki for the National League lead.
It's certainly not. It doesn't bode well for the Mets. But as a fan, it's amazing when good hitters get locked in. It's an amazing thing to watch.
First home run to DeGrom's allowed in the major leagues. 1-2 to Crawford, and he got him with a high fastball. That's the second out. First strikeout of the night for DeGrom.
Good recovery for the youngster.
The difference between the pitch to Gonzalez and Crawford is it was up, but it was away.
Answer to your question, Keith. Gonzalez, 306 lifetime against the Mets. Now has 10 home runs and 179 at bats.
Okay, so he's not really
been good, not overwhelming.
How many you got any RBIs on him or no?
27 now.
Okay. Always seems like he's ripping us. Them.
Justin Turner fouls one off the right side, and Campbell has room to make the grab, and that retires the side. But the Dodgers break in front. Adrian Gonzalez homers for the second straight night. Easy up into the Pepsi porch. Dodger bench knew it quickly. 1-0 LA in the second. Friday when the Mets take on the Diamondbacks at 7:10. All fans in attendance will receive a Mets t-shirt courtesy of Geico. For tickets, visit Mets.com/free shirt Fridays. Curtis Granderson, 3 hits, including a double and a home run last night to lift his batting average up over the Mendoza line. And Granderson hoping to keep the good times rolling tonight. 6 home runs, 20 RBIs now for Curtis after his long home run off the Wise Snack sign last night.
Both of you guys.
2-0 to Granderson.
I'm going to drop an FH on you. You guys don't watch this.
FXH.
Fahrenheit.
Two and 2 to Granderson with Campbell and Flores to follow. And Curtis takes the fastball just off the plate. 3 and 2.
I'd say this young man Rio is kind of sneaky fast, isn't he, Keith?
Yeah, he knows how to pitch too. He uses both sides of the plate. I've seen it pitch more than a few times.
3-2, and he chases the slider. Strikeout for Ryu, his 3rd. And by the way, if you notice, there are a lot of cheers for Hyunjin Ryu tonight. Keep in mind that Ryu is from South Korea, and we are one subway stop away from the largest Korean community in New York.
That's right, Main Street.
There are a lot of Korean fans here tonight rooting on Hyunjin Ryu.
I make my way out to Main Street a couple times in the winter, guy, for
well, Korean barbecue.
Absolutely.
That's the best. The best.
Garlic man.
Campbell hits one to center field, chasing Kemp back a few strides, but he'll have room. And Campbell's long drive ends up the 2nd out. I remember when Chan-Ho Park pitched here for the first time for the Dodgers. It was a rescheduled game. He wasn't supposed to pitch in the series, and then at the last moment they moved him into the rotation. And it was when the Mets used to have International Week. It was Dominican night at Citi Field, but there were probably about 10,000 Koreans who made their way over from Flushing because, you know, Park was really the first big Korean star in the major leagues and made a huge impact. And it was fascinating, the cultural dichotomy of it being Dominican night with all those Korean fans in the ballpark. And Ryu may not have quite the same cachet as Park did at that time, but he has his share of fans. Wilmer Flores lines one the other way, and he's got himself a 2-out hit. So Flores, who was 1 for 3 last night, picks up a base hit.
Got a little breaking ball hanging, but outside where he couldn't get hurt. Flores going that way nicely. Beautifully done.
Again, back to what you said, Keith. The only way to hit the breaking ball is you got to let it come to you. And that's what Flores did there.
You can't get excited and rush out and get it. Let it, just put it in slow motion. Let it break into your bat.
Is Anthony Recker, his 13th start of the year. Better news today on Travis d'Arnaud. He passed a couple of the tests that'll be necessary for him to make his comeback from a concussion. He has to undergo the big test from the major league doctors tomorrow to see whether he can be activated. But much better news than the day before.
Right.
We were told he was still suffering symptoms when he exercised. So Travis's return appears a little more imminent today.
Gary, if you had to guess, do you think you'll need a stop in the minors for a few starts, or just come right back and go get him?
You know, Terry Collins seemed to imply that if he's ready, he's going to jump back in there. I mean, he hasn't been out for that long.
Good.
So I don't think there's a real physical component. I was surprised. Hyunjin Ryu was out with shoulder inflammation 3.5 weeks. No rehab starts. Jumping right back in there tonight. And so far looking good enough. And Recker is called out on a generous strike from Angel Hernandez. And Ryu has his 4th strikeout. Recker went away barking.
It wasn't close. It was not close.
Your Tri-State Audi dealers and the all-new Audi A3. A.J. Ellis will lead off the third inning against Jacob deGrom. 0 for 4 last night. And Ellis takes a fastball strike. Ellis, Ryu, and Gordon 8, 9, and 1 in the Dodger batting order. deGrom has not pitched out of the stretch yet, but he's down 1-0. Gave up a home run to Adrian Gonzalez leading off the second.
I like the way deGrom pours that fastball low and away to right-hand hitters. Scott seems to have a little missile lock right there.
Talked about it in the pregame. Fastball command, Keith. You know it's the most important for any pitcher.
There you go.
Real nice profile on deGrom today in the New York Times. Tim Rowan wrote it, talking about his transformation from a college shortstop to pitcher and the ease with which he seemed to gain command after he took the mound. It's just a few years ago.
He was a reliever first at Stetson. And a closer.
But his goal was to make it to the big leagues as a shortstop, and as his college coach gently said, probably didn't have the offense. There's ball 4, and Ellis is on with a leadoff walk.
He's a good offensive player to me so far. He just got a beautiful free and easy motion, long arm action, pretty refined, not a huge leg kick. And I was kiddingly saying he was the third Weaver brother because he looks a little bit like them in the way he releases the baseball. Not the arm angle, but as far as that long arm action. That's why that ball moves so much.
Here's Ryu, who's a pretty good hitter and a good bunter. Left-hand pitcher, but a right-hand batter. And he pops up the bunt, and Campbell's got it for the first out. So not a good bunt by Ryu, 1 away.
You always love this as a pitcher, Keith.
Absolutely. And he didn't really stab at it. He just didn't get it down.
This might have gone over your head, Keith, because you charge so much. That one might have went over you.
Well,
no, I'm kidding.
Let's see. Oh, no, definitely not, Ron. I had to put that in my back pocket. Got to tuck in that uniform.
It's going all NBA on us.
Like Dennis Rodman?
Yeah, Dennis.
That's. Here's D. Gordon, who flied to right his first time up. And he takes a fastball for a strike, so deGrom starting to get ahead in the count. Gordon's been a revelation this year. He's had a couple of other cracks at being a full-time player with the Dodgers. Never quite was able to get over the hump. But now at age 26, looks like he's going to be a fixture. I mean, Gordon's made such an impression in such a short period of time. They've got the young Cuban infielder Alex Guerrero, who had a bit of an incident yesterday with Miguel Olivo, where they had a little tussle and there was an Evander Holyfield Mike Tyson moment. But Guerrero was a second baseman. That's what they signed him as. But they have moved him to shortstop in the minor leagues because Gordon has played so well at second base. And Hanley Ramirez is going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
And also, if Uribe is going to be out for a while, you could move Ramirez to third and bring the youngster up. Although I don't know, Hanley would probably not move.
And now it looks like Guerrero's going to be out for a while. Apparently, the a little tussle with Miguel Olivo. By the way, Olivo's now been suspended. He bit off enough of Guerrero's ear. They're saying he might be out a month. Oh. It's a fairly big deal.
What is going on?
I mean, his agent is Scott Boras, and Boras was the one that announced to the world that this had happened. He said, "I've been an agent for 30 years. I've never heard of anything like this before." Then again, neither has anybody else.
No cannibalism in the clubhouse at all times.
Well, apparently the deal was that Olivo, catcher, made a throw to second. Guerrero didn't catch it. Olivo got angry and he went all Tyson on him. Slap foul.
Well, Olivo was also the one that went after Jose Reyes.
Well, I was going to say,
the last game of the season.
Should have called Sandy Alomar Sr. He could come and straightened it out.
Jose ducked behind 71-year-old Sandy Alomar Sr. Big Don. Well, Hanley was upstaging him there.
2-2 to Gordon, and he fouls one down the left side. Well, the Dodgers also have another young Cuban infielder with a much more difficult name to pronounce than Alex Guerrero. That's Arisbel Barrena, and he was just called up today, and he's in uniform for the Dodgers tonight.
Barrena.
Okay. I may have to put a graphic up for the folks to be able to spell that. There's Big Don right there, one of the great Yankees.
Barrena, that's 6 syllables. That's Saltalamacchia territory.
Echevarria. More than that.
Encarnacion.
Those are 5 syllables.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a special name to get to 6 syllables. Saltalamacchia, Barrena.
All Latin derivatives.
Beautiful names, just takes a while to spit them out.
Actually, if you kind of get into the rhythm with them and practice it here, they really flow nicely.
Perhaps you could teach me. 8th pitch of the at bat from DeGrom, and Gordon bounces one slowly, foul.
This is a nice little at bat from D. Gordon. He's making DeGrom work.
Is that young Mr.
Yes.
Barrena? Must be.
Yep.
Welcome to the big leagues, Arisbel.
How you always used to like to pitch these type of hitters up, because they would just, you get fly balls, and fly balls from little men do not go far. They're usually outs.
So Gordon, it's first time up, hit it about as well as he can hit it. Didn't get to the warning track and right. Pulls this one down to first, picked out of the air. That's a double play. Side retired. So Campbell able to pluck it before it hit the dirt and turns it into a 3 unassisted double play. Nicely handled by Campbell, and that gets DeGrom through the third. 1-0 LA. You can get 18% off Mets tickets for games through May 28th. Log on to Mets.com/strikeouts to take advantage of this offer. Jacob DeGrom has the only hit for a Met pitcher this year.
Uh-oh. The brass. Salute, Gare. That's some serious brass.
DeGrom batting 1,000 in the big leagues. Another pitcher who bats from the opposite side.
That's right.
The Navy's in town.
Now you have such a fascination with the armed forces. Is that from your father or
no,
just your general?
Dad just you know, he went into he got drafted in World War II like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, after Pearl Harbor, he went into the Navy.
But you said he didn't talk too much about it, though, right?
No, he did not talk too much. But he didn't go out on any patrols. He was in the ship repair units.
Okay.
At Pearl Harbor the entire war.
Juan Lagares on deck. Daniel Murphy to follow against Ryu, who's given up 2 hits and struck out 4 over the first 2 innings. And DeGrom slashes 1 foul. Looks like he has a clue up there. He may not have been a good enough offensive player to make it to the big leagues as a shortstop, but nonetheless, he still has those skills.
He has the skills to be dangerous at the plate.
Goes down on the breaking ball. 5 strikeouts first time through the batting order for Ryu.
So 4 pitch pitchers, Ryu. A good fastball at these spots, a change we said, which is his plus pitch, curveball, and slider.
As Lagares has struck out in the changeup his first time up.
Well, number 12. Not in the old San Francisco Giants. Growing up as a kid, that was Jimmy Davenport's number at third base.
Ground ball toward the middle. Ramirez can't get to it, and Lagares has himself a base hit. Time for Lowe's never stop improving, and going into that at bat, Juan Lagares right up among the leaders in batting average against left-hand pitching this year. David Wright leading the National League against lefties.
Well, Hanley, his days at shortstop, I think, are going to be numbered. He's lost a lot of range. Never had a lot of range anyway. He's a big, gangly guy. I think he's eventually going to wind up at third base, much like Cal Ripken.
And Murphy lines one right at Turner, and scrambling back is Lagares. So Murphy, who had a base hit the other way his first time up, trying for another, and there was Justin Turner for the second out.
Well, who's going to know better where to play the Murph than Justin Turner?
And so many times when you kind of have an off night, I know I felt that way, a left-hand hitter, I wanted to face a lefty. Makes you stay in. Murph got 2 hits, 2 line drives to the opposite field. Nice base running by Juan. They're having fun.
That's Turner saying, Murph, not this way.
Sit down. Go sit down.
There's Wright, who struck out looking his first time. These are not easy times for David Wright. He's had a few base hits here and there, but not driving the ball the way he would like. Well past a quarter of the season now. David has 12 extra base hits for the season. 10 doubles, 2 home runs. Lines this one into left for a base hit. Lagares pulls in at second, and the Mets have 2 men on. So David now has a hit in 5 straight games.
Let's see if he got it towards the end of the bat. Didn't sound like he, yep, towards the end.
13 for 20.
Against lefties, yeah. That's his May against left-handed.
Yep. You can see the bat bend right there, folks. That's that white ash. Very pliable.
Building a deck. Here's Chris Young with 2 out and 2 on. Young popped to short his first time up. Mets have a runner in scoring position for the first time tonight. Lagares at second, Wright at first, and 2 out. One to Chris.
Chris looks a little more crouched than he was in spring training to me.
I think it's probably because he's not hitting.
Yeah.
You tend to get more crouched, to get a little more.
You're trying to get a shorter swing or something?
Yeah, and I think you tighten up a little bit,
okay.
and you just.
It's not free and easy.
Well, Chris Young's goal this year was to expand his game to become less of a dead pull hitter, less of a all or nothing hitter. After hitting just 200 last year, and it looked great in spring training, but it's been a problem carrying it over into the regular season.
A lot of teams have played him with a big shift as a pull, but not the Dodgers. They're pretty much straight up with him.
Of course, they've seen him plenty from his days with Arizona. Now Ryu behind 3-1. Curtis Granderson would be next. And there's ball 4 and the bases are loaded. First walk given up by Ryu. Remember, this is his first start back from the disabled list. He was out 3.5 weeks with shoulder inflammation. His last start was April 27th.
Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach for the Dodgers.
And Ronnie, you talked with Honeycutt and asked him what the pitch count should be for Ryu tonight.
They were saying 85, 90, 90 to 100 in that area, like a regular start for any other time.
This is a major league veteran coaching staff here. A lot of ex-major leaguers. Very rare today do you see that.
There's Granderson, bases loaded, 2 out, and he takes a strike on the inside corner. And questions Angel Hernandez about it.
Nice pitch right there. Remember, he got Curtis kept away the first at bat on Curtis. Now he can hurt him second at bat. He pops him inside first pitch.
That's at 4 at bats with the bases loaded last night. Came up empty.
6 for 40 on the season now with the bases full. And that's off the corner, 1-1. Let's go back to Ryu for a second, Ronnie. Do you think it's odd that they would have him on a regular pitch count after 3.5 weeks off and no rehab start?
Only if it is that, Gary, I'd have to say because his work in between starts, he looked in perfect form.
Strike called on the inside again. Granderson's unhappy.
That ball's up.
Well, let's see. Let's take a peek.
I thought it was up.
Well, in today's game, yes, but if you're a pitcher's umpire, it's a strike. It's a backup slider right there. It ties you up.
Certainly not where Ellis was calling for it.
Had enough plate.
Struck him out the first time with slider away.
He wants fastball up. Fastball up.
1-2. And Granderson goes down on the fastball, and the Mets leave the bases loaded again. 6 strikeouts for Ryu in the first 3 innings. 1-0 LA after 3.
Leads it off for the Dodgers. We go to the top of the fourth. It's 1-0 LA. And boy, Puig can be fun to watch. He seems to hit bullets every single time up. And it's interesting. Juan Uribe has been a guy that's really helped Puig with a lot of different things. He told third base coach Lorenzo Bundy 2 days ago, he said, man, it's been a great 10 days. I mean, Puig, he hasn't messed up anything. So go back to last night when Puig, well, he messed up something, which will happen. He thought there were 2 outs. Indeed, there were 3, and he fired a bullet to Uribe, who kind of gave him an incredulous look like, man, inning's over. What are you doing? He went back to the dugout and said to Bundy, well, I guess that streak is over, and I guess we'll see how we go from here. But Puig was talking to a few of us in the media today through an interpreter, and seemed to have fun with it. He was asked about his style. He said, look, it's been the way that I've played for a long time. The way I play the game hard, and I play it happy. I don't play it to offend others, but I also don't care what others think. I only care what my teammates think. You could have your own opinion. A lot of people do, Gary, but he is polarizing in one way or another. He's fun to watch. Let's go back to you.
He's a great player. I mean, the talent is just oozes out of him.
When the Dodgers faced the Cardinals in October, I would be in the Dodger clubhouse, and every single day I was in there, they had to come up and tell Puig, hey, stretching is in a minute. Okay, he'd be not dressed, not ready to go. He'd throw his stuff on and go out there. I mean, just had to really mold him in every sense of the word.
But the question is, I mean, you have a young player who's in a new culture and has incredible talent, and you have these things that happen that are not conventional, whether it's, forgetting how many outs, or as he goes around on the half swing, good slider by DeGrom to strike him out, or like last night where he slid to second base and there was some concern about an injury, and that's something that seems to happen frequently. The question is, what kind of impact does that have within a clubhouse, and can it be a negative factor, or can guys kind of laugh that off if the guy's talented enough?
I asked that same exact question to some Dodgers last year. They said it was a distraction at times, but it looks like it's less of a distraction now. Now he's not making as many mistakes, but also I think they're having kind of fun with it too, that he's just a different kind of character, and he's got the perfect manager for this. I asked Don Mattingly about it, and so Don says, hey, I played for George Steinbrenner's Yankees. I had like 6 different managers in 6 years. I've seen everything that can go down the track. I'm laid back about it. I'm going to let the talent flow and try to bring him in when he gets outside the box too far.
As long as he's in the lineup every day, Gary, that's all that matters. If you worry about is he going to play today or not, that's not good. And he plays every day.
Yeah, he does. And it would seem that for all the the kind of offbeat things that Puig brings to the table, there doesn't seem to be anything malicious in it.
It's a little goofy.
Yeah, it seems like he's pretty likable. It's just he's not necessarily on the same page all the time. And that's got to make a difference too, right? As opposed to a guy who's being selfish, or a guy who's showing up his teammates, or that kind of thing.
Like D. Gordon's act last night with the third base coach. That wouldn't go too far in most clubhouses. Sure, he had to at some point apologize to Lorenzo Bundy.
DeGrom behind on Hanley Ramirez, 3-1.
You get the sense, guys, that they've all kind of taken a little part of it. I know Adrian Gonzalez has had a big factor in kind of helping him out. And today, when that was going on with Uribe in the clubhouse, everyone was dying laughing. So I think they all kind of have a little piece of it and just kind of understand he's a little bit different, a little bit goofy.
Ramirez on with a walk, second one given up by DeGrom. Jacob walked only 2 in 7 innings in his first start. Now Gonzalez, who's responsible for the only run in this game. Gonzalez has already had a streak this year when he homered in 4 straight games. Another where he homered in 3 straight games. And now he's homered in 3 straight games again. Streaky?
Red hot.
Got 12 home runs for the year now.
He's got the 300 BA to back it up. No, 287 coming in.
Ball right down the middle. Angel missed it.
Angels had a little wide strike zone thus far. Getting the borderline strike is going to the pitcher.
That was T-ball there, though. Can't miss that one.
make a call.
The problem with Gonzalez is that he can go coast to coast on you. You know, he pulled the ball into the Pepsi porch. He can also hit one over the left field wall. That's what makes him so dangerous.
Backdoor breaking ball for a strike.
That was
1-2.
That was a good one right there. Now he's got to pop him inside.
Yes.
Not up.
Don't
pop him inside. Get him off the plate.
Don't be afraid because you went up and in on a good up and in pitch, and he pulled you to the bridge.
Well, that's the sign for throw it over. Keep Hanley close. The Three Amigos sign. Throw it over.
You're going to stay away.
1-2. Hanley runs. Recker's throwing good one, and Ramirez out. Perfect throw by Anthony Recker for the second out.
Well, Recker can throw, and he's proven it. He's done this too much. He's got very good footwork, quick release, strong arm.
And he's only gotten better.
Yep.
And you're going to run with Gonzalez up there red hot. Don't get it.
Yep, I agree.
So 2 out and nobody on. A 2-2 count to Gonzalez. And the changeup fouled off. Keep away that changeup a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Both he and Montero are still a work in progress with that changeup. What you want to do, if you err on throwing a changeup, you want to have more motion than less motion.
Like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. Santana, Johan Santana, he would jump at you.
Wants to stay away. Recker.
Full count to Gonzalez with Matt Kemp on deck. Young pitcher, just gave up his first home run in the big leagues. Only natural, right, to be careful?
I think you're careful for a couple of reasons. One, you know he's red hot. Two, you threw a pitch, the catcher called up in the strike zone, he hit it out of the ballpark. You're confused right now on what to throw.
He gets the rollover right to Campbell. Nicely done. A 3-2 changeup for the final out of the inning. Another good inning for DeGrom. Let's try and get him a run coming up in the bottom of the fourth.
getting silly.
Get a preview of tomorrow's Mets-Dodgers finale, plus up-to-the-minute news as the Rangers return to the Garden and look to go up 3-0 against the Canadiens in the Eastern Conference Finals on Loudmouths, presented by Caesars Atlantic City, tomorrow at 5:30, only on SNY. City probables for tomorrow. John Neeson tries to get back on the beam. Zach Greinke firmly on the beam. He has been money for the Dodgers. Eric Campbell leads off in the home 4th inning. Campbell flying to center his first time up. Ryu has struck out 6 over the first 3 innings, and he finds the outside corner. 0-2. Let's check in with Kevin.
How's Campbell's first short time in the big leagues been? He said, well, I've told myself, especially early, just to slow down my hands and most importantly, slow down my breathing. And I think he has. Obviously, his results have been there. He said there's been a couple things he's thought of. Number one, how many bad baseball games he made his mom and dad sit through to get to this point. So it's been fun for them, as we saw in his debut against the Phillies. He said the other thing is, grew up in a part of Connecticut where it was all Yankee fans. And when we played the Yankees, he goes down there. So Campbell, as Ryu keeps mowing through the Mets lineup, another strikeout. He said, playing the Yankees, I get to second base, and Derek Jeter comes over and says something to me. And I had a bunch of friends texting me, what do you say? What do you say? He said, good job. You're swinging it well. And Campbell said, I thought that was pretty cool.
Sure enough. Right?
I've got to stop doing reports when guys strike out. I mean, what in the world is going on here?
Kevin.
I'm done.
We're going to wait till DeGrom gets out there.
Well, the way Ryu is going, you may not be able to do a report the rest of the night. And Angel Hernandez is certainly giving him a little boost. Flores had a base hit to right field his first time up. Meanwhile, you know, we've remarked before about Jacob deGrom, how he's got the Jeff Samardzija hair.
Yeah.
Apparently he also has Jeff Samardzija's run support.
So far. What's Samardzija about? A $1.50 ERA and he's got nothing to show for it.
Today he threw 7 scoreless innings against the Yankees. 2-0 lead going to the 9th. Darwin Barney throws a ball away to tie the game, and the Yankees win it in the 13th. Another no decision for Samardzija. What can you do? Just keep running out there and throwing up zeros. The question becomes again with Samardzija on a team like the Cubs. Do they trade him?
Well, he and David Price are going to be the big stories.
8 strikeouts for Ryu. He's writing a story himself here.
Jeez. Here we go again.
Supposed to be outside, ends up inside. Doesn't matter. Maybe down the middle.
Had a lot of play. Swung right under it.
I have a buddy of mine who's a big sports fan. Left him tickets tonight. He said the guy next to him just texted me. The guy next to him has his laptop and is working.
At the game?
At the game.
In the stands?
In the stands.
Why is he here?
He's having a real hard time.
Curveball for a strike to Recker, who went down looking his first time up.
Boy, Ryu right now is just in a groove, getting everything over.
By the way, the updated numbers on Samardzija: 0-4, 1.46.
Whoa.
Slow grinder, Justin Turner in to get it. And he throws out Recker by a stride, side retired. First 1-2-3 inning of the night for Hyunjin Ryu. 4 in the books, 1-0 LA. Dodgers came into New York and had an off night on Monday, and so that gave Donnie time to go on Jimmy Fallon and get his mustache.
What a great job by the makeup person. That really looked how his mustache looked in the 80s.
Nicely done. That mustache had lots of hits in it.
How many times you get to listen to Peaches and Herb, too.
Keith?
What?
Could you see yourself reuniting?
No.
Not even temporarily with a nice replica?
I'm not in the Charlie Weaver.
Matt Kemp leads off in the 5th inning. Drives one into left field for a base hit. Chris Young will chase it back to the wall. And Kemp eases into second base with a leadoff double. So DeGrom gets ambushed. First pitch of the 5th inning.
Well, there's the best one. Old Raleigh, Hall of Famer.
Of course, Raleigh first grew his with the Oakland A's when Charlie Finley paid everybody to grow their mustache.
It's Donnie Baseball. Max.
I look very distressed. I must have been in a slump.
You?
It's Crawford who struck out his first time up. So the Dodgers have just their second hit against DeGrom. Gonzalez homered in the 2nd, and now Kemp is double leading off the 5th. Of course, Mattingly and Hernandez not only share the mustache thing, they also tended to monopolize the gold at first base.
George Scott, of course, was a heck of a fielder for a big guy, Ronnie.
Boomer.
Well, I watched a lot of games that Boomer played. He couldn't field like you and Donnie at all, but he had the stretch.
Right.
He had the greatest stretch of all time that he could get all the way out there. Freddie Freeman probably comes the closest now and snag that ball off the dirt.
And of course, Bill White was someone that my father had me watch Bill's footwork around the bag when I was a little kid at Candlestick Park when the Cardinals came in.
Now, a few years ago, they did the all-time Gold Glove teams, and Wes Parker got the nod at first base. And I don't recall watching that much of Parker. Did you?
I saw Wes play, but they didn't have the TV like today. He was a heck of a fielder, no question.
The guy I always remember from the 60s was Vic Power.
Yeah, Vic Power, my dad didn't like because my dad thought he was a little bit of a perro caliente.
Like
Showboat.
A little bit of a hot dog.
Willie Montañez?
Yes, but Willie could pick it too,
Yes,
let me tell you.
Willie was good.
Willie could pick it.
Of course, Willie spent a few years as a Met during the dark days.
Yes, he did. Willie hit the 30 home runs his rookie year, right, at the Phillies?
Right. Got beat out for the rookie of the year by Earl Williams. Remember the
That's
Atlanta
right.
catcher? Two and two to Crawford with a runner at second and nobody out. And Crawford tries to lay off. They check at third. No swing, says Larry Vanover. Full count.
Well, what's interesting about young pitchers when they throw the changeup is that they want to help slow it down. And really, it's the grip that slows the ball down. So you don't have to worry about it. If you've got the proper grip, it should be thrown exactly like a fastball and let that grip take the 10 miles an hour off. There's a circle change grip right there.
3-2 to Crawford with Justin Turner on deck. Slaps one toward the hole. Right cuts it off. Looks Kemp back and makes the play on Crawford. One away.
So Crawford does not get the runner over. David looks the runner back.
Throws on the run.
David always got that tongue out.
Michael Jordan.
You know, one of the reasons you have to look him back is because sometimes a runner at second will stay there if Murphy or Flores doesn't go behind him.
Right.
And as soon as you let it go, he'll go to third base.
Here's Turner. Swung at the first pitch he saw and fouled out to first base. Justin filling in at third base with Juan Uribe going on the disabled list today. 16th game that Turner started this year. Justin did a nice job for the Mets for the last few years. Was shocked, he said, when the Mets non-tendered him during the offseason. Cleveland winning on a walk-off balk this afternoon.
Whoa. They took 2 out of 3 from Detroit, did they not?
I think they did.
Yep.
Well, at his best, we've seen Justin Turner many times hit this ball into right field or try to hit it.
Instead, he pulls it. Flores runs around it and throws him out. Tell you what, Flores looks like he knows what he's doing.
That's a position he loves to play. You know, it's a position he always wanted to play.
He's been very sure-handed, making all the plays thus far.
Now, we didn't see him in the minor leagues when they said he was getting too big to play the position. And after spending all that time in Michigan this winter, he may be more agile than he was, but he looks like he's got good actions at shortstop.
Part of getting too big is also the weight factor. He never had that problem. He's always stayed pretty thin. It's an intentional walk here with the pitcher on deck, Rio.
I kind of agree here with Terry. It's a 5th inning. It's a well-pitched ball game. It could be decided by a run. Don't take a chance here. You know me. I prefer to get that 8th hitter out, but this is a veteran hitter right here. It's a tight ball game.
Last night, similar spot. They pitched around Ellis in the 2nd inning with 2 out. Josh Beckett got a soft hit to drive in a run.
The only caveat to this is Rio had 5 RBIs last year, batted .207. You know, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's not a bad hitter.
3 doubles, a triple. There's Mr. Wilson.
What's he doing in the dugout? Doesn't he belong out there with his fellow relief pitcher?
So he got a tip on a snowstorm?
No pet sounds there.
So here's Ryu, who tried to sacrifice and popped one up his first time up. 2 out and 2 on, 1-0 LA in the 5th.
It'd be nice for young DeGrom to pitch out of the leadoff double jam here. Very poised. I'm very impressed with him.
All business too. You know, you'd like to see your starting pitchers don't change their demeanor, whether they've given up a home run or a couple of runs.
And when you start assessing pitchers and talent, I'm not sure you're going to look at the statistics, but they're sterile. You're looking who's got the guts, who doesn't have the guts. When the men are on base in trouble in a tight ball game, who folds his tent, who rises above.
He's ahead in the count 0-2 on Ryu. Wastes away that fastball.
It's a good pitch there because if you've been watching the game, DeGrom seems like that kind of player and pitcher. Angel Hernandez is giving you that pitch. Why not take advantage of it? I don't know how he fouls this.
And you got a pitcher up too, and usually umpires are going to give anything close to the pitcher, not the hitting pitcher.
It's not bad time to throw a slider in the dirt. Something you can't hit. Bounce it. There you go.
Nice try. Pitch to waste.
Those are the minor league numbers on Jacob DeGrom. Remember, he had Tommy John surgery his first full year, so he's really only pitched a couple of years in the minors, and then 7 starts this year, and rose like a meteor. Line right at David Wright to retire the side. Well, Ryu gave a good account of himself, but DeGrom gets himself out of a 2-on situation halfway through 1-0 LA.
Tough time against Ryu tonight. Good pitch, well pitched, I should say. Nice grammar. Well pitched ball game between DeGrom and Ryu. 1-0 Dodgers, and DeGrom will lead it off. Well, this Mets offense at home has been at times non-existent, and many people have tried to figure out why. We know the Mets have done all kinds of things, try and change the routine, make it seem like a road game. But the bottom line is they haven't hit here. You know, looking at some numbers today, maybe they can tell you the story in the form of this. How does a player press? How does a ballpark get inside somebody's head? Well, how about this? On the road this year, the Mets, they are third in the league in line drive percentage, which means, yeah, when they make contact, it's good contact, it's line drive contact, and they're near the bottom of the league, 26 in fly ball percentage. At home, it's the complete opposite. They're near the bottom of the league in line drive percentage, and they're fifth worst in the league in fly ball percentage. Well, what does that tell you? I think it could tell you that at home they're pressing and trying to hit the ball too hard and get under and popped it up. So I took my theory to a couple of Mets players, and you know what? They agreed. David Wright said, look, I think it's only human nature that when you do something and you don't get rewarded, you try to do it a little bit better. Maybe try to swing a little bit harder. And he said, I think here we all have to do a better job of staying within ourselves and just realizing, not trying to do what we can't do. Don't know if that's the whole problem, but it could be a factor. Gary?
Okay. Well, let's look at it in terms of strikeouts too. You're talking about when you make contact. This team is 12th in strikeouts in the National League, so they're swinging and missing a lot. So that's got to be factored in. You're just talking about contact.
Well, tonight's certainly a perfect example. And DeGrom hits one up the middle.
Wow.
And he's got his second hit of the season. So the rest of the pitching staff is 0 for 71, and Jacob DeGrom is 2 for 3.
Fifth hit for the Mets.
Got to recruit a few more former shortstops to pitch.
Who was that Stetson coach said he couldn't hit in the big leagues? Come on, what was he talking about?
He's only hit 667.
Well, he's athletic. He's an athlete. He's a kid that knows what he's doing up there. He's a ball player.
So the Mets get the leadoff man on for the first time tonight. Juan Lagares will try and make something of it. Lagares had a base hit up the middle his last time up. Well, DeGrom in his first start against the Yankees became the first Met pitcher ever to lose 1-0 in his major league debut. So here he is, second start. It's down 1-0 again.
Can't worry about it. You know, he's out there pitching. He did his part. He got on the lead off this inning. You know, the beef of the lineup's coming up. Do something.
Slapped down to first. Gonzalez gets the out there and the out there.
Beautiful play.
3-3-6 double play. 2 out and nobody on.
Well, Gold Glove winner. Made it look natural, easy. Tough luck for Juan. Hit the ball hard. Doesn't come off the line. Gonzalez is not one of those guys that likes to come off the line. If he comes off properly, that's a double.
So not being active rewards him
on this play, but you're going to get hurt more in the hole than you are down the line.
Yeah. I mean, that should be a double almost for Lagares, but it was not to be.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Murphy, who's hit 2 balls hard to the left side. 1 got through, 1 did not.
You know, guys, I wanted to add another thought to the hitting at home thing if I could. You know, Wright told me, hey, it comes off as an excuse, and it's not an excuse. But to a degree, I don't think there's any coincidence that score more, say, in Philadelphia or Yankee Stadium. But we've got to do a better job at it. Chris Young, I thought, had a good line describing it all. He said, quote, you want to hear the people cheer for you. I don't know, guys. I mean, in trying to figure it all out, sometimes it's hard to do.
That just missed. For you's been getting that call, not that time. 1-2 to Murphy. Well, I think that it begins as happenstance, and then I think it becomes a thing.
Yeah.
And once it becomes a thing,
that's 375 right there in the Mo zone, the edge of the Mo zone, and then it comes in. 375. I mean, I always thought Wrigley Field was short. 368 at Wrigley Field. That's only 8 feet deeper. I'm 7 feet deeper than Wrigley Field, and it comes in. So it's not like it's cavernous out there. 375's really not that big. Maybe the ball doesn't carry so grand. But I'll take a 375 gap. It's 370 in left field.
Gordon comes in to play the hop and throws out Murphy to end the inning. 5 scoreless inning for Hyun-Jin Ryu. 31 innings on the road this year. Ryu hasn't allowed a run. Back to his hometown, Piscataway, New Jersey, for an inside look at his journey to the majors on Mets Insider, presented by WB Mason, Sunday at 4:30, only on SNY.
Where's Piscataway?
That's where Rutgers is.
Oh, okay.
The
honestly
the school is in New Brunswick, but the basketball arena and the stadium are in Piscataway.
Is that like a middle of the state kind of deal, or?
It's yeah, it's fairly well.
I've never been to Rutgers.
Fairly well located.
Is it a long way away from the university?
No. It's just across the town line.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like Notre Dame University is in South Bend, but the basketball arena is in Notre Dame, Indiana. Right? Something like that. D. Gordon is 0 for 2. He's flied out and lined into a double play. Well, Jacob deGrom accomplishing with his bat and with his arm and getting no help. In fact, deGrom is now the 3rd Met pitcher ever to get a hit in each of his first 2 major league games. While Terrell and Dylan G, the only 2 who have done it.
Tracy Crab could hit.
And ironically enough, of course, it's G's spot in the rotation that deGrom is taking. Well, Terrell had what? 2 home runs in 1 game.
Yeah, two-run home runs and a 4-0 shutout of the Cubs.
Strike 3 called, and Gordon is caught. 3rd strikeout for deGrom.
Did you see that? Faking the bunt with 2 strikes? Or not faking the bunt, thinking about bunting with 2 strikes.
What? I don't get it.
Maybe he forgot the count.
Possibly.
Oh, that's a take strikeout. Right?
Yep.
Well, go blame it on your third base coach.
Wow. Here's Yasiel Puig. He's lined to center and struck out 0 for 2.
Contained Puig thus far. Now Puig has seen him twice. Remember, last at bat, stayed away from Puig.
Hit a bullet his first time up that was caught by Lagares.
The problem with Puig, though, is what we saw last night. You pitch him away, hit that line drive off the orange marker over the top of the fence. He's got that kind of power.
will stay away.
Puig, look how strong Puig is. Look at his arms. Look at his forearms and his guns up top. My God, he's a strong man.
It's the last Major League Baseball team you saw that had a 66 and a 99.
Ray Nitsky. Was Ray 66? I forget.
Yes. Long drive left center field. Lagares looks up near the wall and it's off the fence. And they're saying it's a home run. It hit the railing above the fence. A home run for Puig, his 10th of the year. And the Dodgers have a 2-0 lead.
My, what an impressive young man.
That's it. A line drive out of here.
Fuerte, I heard. Strong.
Profundo.
So 2 solo home runs for the Dodgers tonight. Gonzalez and now Puig.
Missed with the first 2 fastballs.
Huh? Not that bad. Missed enough. And you know what? He's pitched him away. I mentioned the at bat before. Started him off away. He's quick. He's got quick hands. And this is a big ballpark right here. That's a big part of the ballpark. And that certainly was out.
One to Ramirez. Bounce foul, 1-2.
Yep, just did get it, didn't it?
Up the railing above the orange line, which is all you have to do.
You can tell by the carom too. If it caromed off the mat, so it would certainly have gone to Lagares. Instead, it went almost backwards to Chris Young.
Yeah, it would have deadened off the padding. Hanley's grounded out and walked. Was caught stealing with Gonzalez at the plate in the 4th inning. Two. A long drive to left. Back goes Chris Young. Looks up at the wall, and that's out of here. Back-to-back home runs for Puig and Ramirez, and the Dodgers now lead 3-0. Ramirez with his 7th home run of the season. And the Dodgers starting to tee off.
Well, this was a mistake. I don't mind the pitch to Puig. I don't mind the pitch to Gonzalez. Good hitters. They hit him. This one is his first mistake, I think.
Yeah. Just a hanging slider in the middle of the plate. He's had a couple of those in this series and has missed them. But Hanley did not miss this one.
So back-to-back home runs for Puig and Ramirez. Dodgers only have 4 hits against DeGrom. 3 of the 4 have left the yard. Now Gonzalez, who homered back in the 2nd.
Trying to go away. Keith leaves it right in the middle.
And this is really the only pitch that Ramirez can get the barrel out on. He's got a very long swing, slider bat speed, and he got a hanging slider.
Most all pitchers will tell you when you throw that hanging slider, it just sits on a tee for the hitter.
Yes, it does.
Ouch, Mr. Seaver. You hit one like that off the real Mr. Seaver, the next one you might be in the seat of your pants.
We need the security in front of the 41. That should never happen. Take it on the chest or something.
Kind of protected. It's precious.
Ooh, pretenders.
Not me, baby. Carlos Torres, first man up in the Mets bullpen. DeGrom about to throw his 90th pitch of the night. And Gonzalez fooled on the changeup, 3-2.
Struck him out on the 3-2 changeup before. Now comes back with a 3-1 change. Good one. Maybe his best one all night.
Home run hitters conference.
Oh, yeah.
Strike 3 call. Gonzalez caught looking for the second out of the inning. Let's check in with the studio. Michelle Yu is there for a game break brought to you by your local Tri-Honda dealer. Encarnacion had 2 home runs at the end of April. He has 11 in May. 4 in the last 2 days. Here's Matt Kemp. Hit a deep fly ball to right that was caught, then doubled to left field in the 5th. And DeGrom, this is low and away, ball 1. Kemp trying to regain his form after offseason shoulder and ankle surgery. He's had so many injury problems the last couple of years. And may still not be 100%. One to Kemp, and it's off the outside corner. 2-1.
Just to point the little thing out, we've seen some of the Mets pitchers kind of lose velocity over time. DeGrom has kept it from the start. 92, 93 in the first inning, still at that number here in the 6th. That's a good sign, despite the 2 home runs given up this inning.
Two to Kemp.
Interesting pitch. The first changeup he's thrown to a right-handed hitter tonight in the 6th inning on his 94th pitch, and a good one.
Now full count to Kemp. Carl Crawford would be next. Two from DeGrom. And Kemp grounds one down to third. And David Wright makes the play to end the inning. But the Dodgers expand their lead. More long balls. Puig and Ramirez go back to back. Number 10 for Yasiel Puig. Number 7 for Hanley Ramirez. 3-0 Dodgers in the 6th. Factory dealer. Buy Cholula hot sauce, the hot sauce with the iconic wooden cap, available in original flavor, chili lime, chili garlic, and chipotle. And by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on the most exciting lineup ever. Shop at ChooseNissan.com.
I remember those kind of electric cars.
Trolleys.
Yes. San Francisco had them.
Well, it's where the Brooklyn Dodgers got their name. The Dodgers are named for the trolley dodgers who used to weave their way between the trolleys to cross the street.
Across the street, right? Where was Ebbets Field? Bedford and what?
Flatbush.
Yeah. Well,
The Artful Dodgers.
Right, Oliver. David Wright hits one up the middle, and that's a base hit. David has his second hit of the night. And the Mets have the leadoff man on for the second straight inning.
Well, good signs that David hit the ball hard twice on his last 2 at-bats last night, I believe. All to right field, and he's always comfortable against the left-handers. He's murder on lefties.
Well, 4:55 start in the ninth. That's only gone up with his 2 for 3. So the Mets have 6 hits against Ryu. And now Chris Young has popped up and walked 0 for 1. 3 solo home runs, Gonzalez, Puig, and Ramirez, putting the Dodgers up 3-0. You mentioned that Ryu has been remarkable away from Dodger Stadium this year. Now, usually everybody who pitches for the Dodgers looks forward to those starts at the great Dodger Stadium mound.
yeah.
Ryu has thrown 31 innings on the road this year and is not allowed a run away from Dodger Stadium.
One of those starts was down under, right?
Right, in Australia. That was a Diamondbacks home game, so that counts as on the road. ERA of 9 at Dodger Stadium and perfect away.
I'd have to say I don't know the numbers when I was a Met, but I would have to say that I loved pitching at Shea Stadium. It was just, the mound was perfect, the dimensions were great, the opposing team just hated coming to New York. You had everything in your favor.
Well, you pitched in 2 great pitchers' ballparks.
That's right.
Oakland as well. Pulled down to third, should be 2. Turner to Gordon, and on to first for the double play. Second straight inning, the Dodgers have turned a double play on the infield. 5-4-3, 2 out.
Nicely done. Good feed. Should be 2 in the big leagues.
It was interesting watching D. Gordon. Watch how D. Gordon lets go of this ball. He put some mustard on this, like his dad used to throw.
Tom Gordon, his dad, very hard throwing right-hander. The great curveball. You don't want to throw the curveball to first base. Here's Granderson with 2 out. Well, Ryu keeps working those corners, keeps getting the calls, keeps throwing first pitch strikes, and the Mets keep taking them. Granderson's been up twice, struck out both times, lifts this one to shallow left. Crawford coming on. He won't get there. And Granderson has himself a blue pit. So Curtis with his first hit of the night, and his 4th in the 2 games of the series.
Little slider off the strike zone, off the end of the bat. So very fortunate. You got to take those when you can get them.
Dunkaroo.
Dunkaroo, I like it.
I got a better name for him, but we can't use it on the air. It's really a harmless. You remember that?
Yeah, that's right. You can't say it.
No, well, you can't say it. No, you can't.
No, well, you can. It's an old saying. You can say anything on TV once.
Can I say this? I'll write it out to you. I can't.
No, you can't.
Can't.
No, but here's what you can say as an alternative, as the cleaner version. You can call it a duck snort.
Oh, Hawk Harrelson calls it that.
See, folks, I have to go to Gary for consultation. I've been in enough trouble over my career.
I just try to keep you on the straight and narrow as best I can. Sometimes it's a chore.
You're like the when you say the jokes and they start out with Bad Johnny in the class.
Eric Campbell's 0 for 2. Eric has had a hit or an RBI in each of his first 6 games in the majors. He's had neither of those tonight. Only 3 other Mets have had a hit or an RBI in their first 6 games in the major leagues. Jason Tyner, Keith Miller, Dave Schneck.
Oh, wow.
And now Eric Campbell.
Dave Schneck.
And he drives one deep left field. Crawford looks up near the wall, and it's out of here. Eric Campbell with his first major league home run. A 2-run shot to get the Mets within a run. Well, he has that hit in RBI tonight. Couple of them. A bullet off the bat of Campbell for his first big league home run, coming in his 15th major league at bat.
Brand new ball game.
He's been very, very impressive in the short period of time Eric Campbell's been in the big leagues.
Well, Ryu.
And Flores takes one the other way for a base hit. The 4th hit of the inning for New York, and now they've got the tying run on base.
That's going to get the bullpen up.
I think there's a little hanging slider.
He backdoored him the last time. Actually, fastball. Ronnie, huh?
I think it's changeup. Yeah, I think it's changeup.
Too much plate. Stays back. Good balance. And instantly, it's 3-2.
Well, with one swing, Eric Campbell accomplished quite a bit. First big league home run. First run scored for Jacob deGrom in the big leagues, and the first run scored on the road against Hyunjin Ryu after 31 scoreless innings. Rick Honeycutt on the phone. Well, we talked earlier about Ryu and the fact that they were going to give him rope like it was a regular start, even though he hadn't pitched in 3.5 weeks.
The thing is that it was just such a breeze. Brandon League's going to be up for the Dodgers. He's been red hot for them out of the bullpen, in the middle of the game kind of reliever now. But everything has been such a breeze for Rio until this inning.
Recker is 0 for 2, struck out, grounded out. And takes a strike, 1-1. Now deGrom is on deck, but Edgin and Torres continue to throw in the bullpen. So, well, now he's going back to the dugout.
Well,
and Lucas Duda comes out on deck to pinch hit.
yeah, but if his spot comes up, you're going to pinch hit.
Well, unless Recker hits a 2-run home.
Yeah.
Correct.
Then he can keep him in the game.
He's up around 100 though, right?
Yeah, 97.
Yeah,
he's
that's
probably done it.
Yeah, time to go.
Ryu just trying to fight his way through this 6th inning. He's given up 4 hits in the inning. If not for that double play that Chris Young hit into, he might be facing some serious trouble. J.P. Howell gets up alongside Brandon League in the Dodger bullpen. 1-2 to Recker. Strike 3 called, inning over. 9 strikeouts for Ryu, but the Mets get closer. Eric Campbell with his first major league home run. A 2-run bullet. And just like that, it's a 1-run game again. 3-2 Dodgers after 6. Brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. Time for tonight's AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet or Instagram your photo using hashtag SNYFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown later tonight during the game. Jacob deGrom out after 6 innings, allowed 3 runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, 1 intentional, 4 strikeouts, 3 home runs. 97 pitches for deGrom in his second big league start, and Carlos Torres on to replace him.
More of a tough time for Torres last night as the Dodgers, for the first club I've seen, looked pretty comfortable against the cutter of Torres.
He struck out his first 2 hitters, but then gave up 3 straight hits. Carl Crawford leads off against him tonight in the 7th, 3-2 LA. Crawford 0 for 2, and he fouls off the first pitch, 0-1. Crawford, Turner, and Ellis 6, 7, and 8 in the LA batting order. The Mets have out hit the Dodgers 9-4, but 3 Dodger home runs, a couple of double plays, and Ryu and the Dodgers have the 3-2 lead. Did not double switch Torres into the game, even though his spot is due to lead off in the bottom of the inning. Line to third and caught by David Wright. A step and a dive. That's what playing third base is all about.
Crawford has all that speed, David, even with the bag or no, isn't on the grass. Still has the ability to make that quick play.
The hot corner. Nicely snagged.
So 1 hard out to start the 7th, and now Justin Turner was 0 for 2 in his first game starting back at Citi Field. Justin hit .280 for the Mets last year and 200 at bats.
He's a good player. I mean, he's a guy you love on the bench. He can play. Boy, really 4 infield positions if you have to. Played some outfield also.
And he proved last year he could play shortstop in a pinch, which is something he really had not done a lot before. And the Dodgers have used him in shortstop several times this year. Hyunjin Ryu and his translator, I'm sure.
Just tell him he's done.
Or not. They get a couple of men on, maybe he stays in the bunt.
I believe that's Martin Kim who's his translator.
Murphy slides over in front of him and throws out Turner 2 away. So Torres has set the first 2 down here at the top of the 7th. Now A.J. Ellis, who hasn't had a chance to swing the bat tonight. Walk leading off the 3rd, was intentionally walked in the 5th. Ellis was out for 6 weeks. He had arthroscopic surgery on his knee, so he's only had 38 at bats this year. Came back a week ago tonight.
What more can he tell him?
Well, the Ryu's spot is due up next, and Scott Van Slyke's on deck.
Not only so many possibilities.
That's a lot of words for it. Go sit down. You're done.
He's obviously not. He's a radio guy.
That's funny.
Saying he needs an edit button. Brandon League ready to go in the Dodger bullpen. Torres with the 1-0, and Ellis lifts one foul.
Wouldn't it be crazy if his translator was telling him, you know, I've watched you a lot, and you just was dropping your elbow on the changeup.
Oh. No, it's all about, hey, these are the Korean barbecue places that are open on Main Street after the game.
There you go.
We have a choice of.
We've got a Escalade at the Hodges entrance.
I'll tell you something. If you have any interest in food in this town, you have to experience Korean barbecue.
It's unbelievable.
At least once.
He may go out and pitch another inning. Okay, enough. Give me a break.
You know what he may be telling him? You're going to go out to the mound, and then they're going to take you out.
Yep.
Because the Mets have a pinch hitter coming up.
They want to be announced first.
Exactly. Swing and a miss. Ellis out on strikes. 1-2-3 inning for Carlos Torres. 7th inning stretch time at Citi Field. Ryu will go to the mound. He might come right back. Bullpen, only to realize that Hyunjin Ryu went out to the mound so that Don Mattingly could wait for the Mets to announce a pinch hitter before he made his move to take Ryu out of the game. This is what the translator was explaining to Ryu. And what this does is it enables us to take an extra commercial break.
Perfect.
It's because the call to the bullpen, as you probably know by now, is brought to you by Verizon.
No.
So now Ryu will exit and Lee can come in for real.
Thank God.
Four minutes of commercials, we can get back to the game. Hyunjin Ryu will head off to the clubhouse with his translator, and Brandon League will come in to replace him.
That's a bullpen game now, and it's been great for Brandon League, who used to be a closer with Seattle, started as a closer with the Dodgers, now has moved here to pitch the 7th inning, but you can see by those numbers, outstanding. Sinking fastball and a good split finger.
League now 31 years old. Eric Young Jr. will be the pinch hitter, batting for DeGrom. And the funny thing about all those histrionics with Ryu going to the mound, if you're the Dodgers, wouldn't you rather have Young batting right-handed than left-handed?
But,
yes.
But Ryu was done.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Then what was the point?
Just in case maybe they had sent
a right-handed
Tejada.
I mean, really.
I'm hearing you.
I mean, the Mets have 3 left-handed bats on their bench with Duda and Abreu and Santana. They've got the switch hitter with Young, who's a better left-hand hitter. So what was the point? Terry Collins came out to talk to Angel Hernandez, the home plate umpire, after all those machinations. And EY takes a strike, 2-1.
He's got a nice sinker to hit.
Yeah, it's not the late movement. It kind of sinks right out of his hand.
It's like an airplane and making a bank.
League, who was born in Sacramento but grew up in Hawaii. The opposite of your story.
That's right.
He started out with Toronto, then Seattle.
He had some great years in Seattle, by the way. He threw a couple of miles an hour faster than he does now. There's all the bullpen ranks. They're not good, but they were good yesterday.
4 scoreless innings in the game last night. 2-2 to EY. And he grounds one weakly. And Deke Gordon is there to play it. 1 out. So 1 out, Juan Lagares coming up.
Juan missed a couple games. Strikes out on a changeup his first at bat. Rips the change there up the middle for base. And gets unfortunate there. Double play but hit hard. So he's had himself a nice night. Build on it.
And tries to drop down a bunt. It's a beauty. You can put it in your pocket. Perfect bunt by Lagares for a base hit.
Right time to do it. Nicely done. That's something he's worked on too. And this is, you just can't do it. Bud Harrelson will have a big smile on his face.
That's right. Keith, you're right. He's been out here early. He works on it all the time. We've seen him now. If he misses foul. That's good. This one perfect.
Yep. You don't want it too close to the pitcher where it's easy to throw you out.
Lagares at times looks like a fullback the way he runs. Powerful.
Second hit of the night for Lagares, and now Murphy, who's 1 for 3, tying run at first and 1 out. And League fires one on the outside corner. Hyunjin Ryu went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs, 9 hits, 1 walk, and a season-high 9 strikeouts. Nice return from the disabled list.
Nope, not guarding the lines. Only Gonzalez guarding the line at first base. Turner's giving that line up. I know that you can kind of half agree with them, but boy, in a 1-run game, I like to keep that double play in order.
Especially when you have a guy with a sinking fastball.
Yeah, but Murph's very capable of popping one down the line.
Lagares has not stolen a base this year. I think at some point with a little bit of instruction that Lagares would be a guy who could steal 10,
yes.
15 a year.
I think more than 10. I think 15, 20.
When I watch him run, he's the kind of guy that takes a little bit to get going. We saw him score from first in Anaheim. He can really fly after that, but his initial quickness and offensive running.
Gordon to his left. He's going to go for the lead man and gets Lagares for the second out. Nicely played by Gordon. 2 out. Now David Wright.
Well, David's had himself a couple hits. First at bat, got caught looking on a fastball away. Got a change up there across the end of the bat. Line drive, then a bullet up the middle. So signs of David are coming to life.
So he went 2 for 3 against the lefty. Now the more difficult part, facing the right-hander League. David's had 1 career at bat against League, and he had a base hit. That's now at 10 hits on the night.
And you see Turner now hugging that line. That to me is guarding the line right there when you're playing that far back.
David lays off, ball 1. Got him to go, but he held it up. Adrian Johnson with the call, 2-0.
Agreed.
Trying to get that sinker up. Now on a positive count.
He's just going to run that sinker and say, here, try to hit it out of the ballpark.
And he drives one to right field. On comes Puig, diving. He can't get it. Around second, Murphy heading for third. And he'll be stopped there as Wright pulls in at second base. Puig making the attempt at the diving catch, came up empty. Fortunately for him, got a piece of it to keep it from going all the way back to the wall.
Well, a heck of an effort here. Is it ill-advised? He just got the tip of his glove in there to hold. That thing could have gone by past him. Boy, that'll cost a run. That's trouble.
That doesn't touch leather. That might be an inside the park home run.
Yeah. Well, it certainly would have rolled a lot farther had he not touched it. And Murphy certainly would have scored if not right.
Well, Murph's going to be running on with 2 outs. And really wasn't on his horse in the beginning. I don't understand that.
So now Chris Young with the tying and lead runs in scoring position. Young 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. 6 hits in his last 47 at bats, but boy, would a single look big right now.
So one of those at bats that can get you going, get you out of the doldrums. He's a low ball hitter, League a low ball pitcher.
And now he's in a 2-strike hole.
This is right. A lot of play, didn't sink. He kind of swings. Watch him swing a little bit down. And it gets under.
Now League ahead of him 0-2. Murphy at third, Wright at second, 2 out. And Young checks his swing. No, he did not go.
Adrian, I like it. This is one of the few umpires. It's not automatic. Adrian Johnson. He's been spot on. No, sir.
It's that splitter from League.
Mattingly shaking his head, but he would have hated that call in his day.
You got that right.
This is where some of Chris Young's Rod Carew work's got to come into play. He's got to use the whole field. 1-2. Plays off. 2-2. You know what I mean? I mean, he's such a deadbolt hitter, such a home run conscious guy.
This is not a home run spot.
No,
right.
This is a put it in play spot.
And this is what Chris said, you know, he talked about with Rod Carew during the winter. And this is the spot to make it happen. Two from League to Young. Stays alive.
Good sinker. He fought that one. He stayed in the at bat. That's a tough pitch. Down and in. Good spot.
League has dropped his arm angle since last year and is getting more sink on his fastball. I think you're going to see the split finger here. Sinker in, split finger in the same spot.
Murphy at third, Wright at second, and 2 down. Mets down a run in the 7th. 2-2 to Young. Ground ball down to third. Turner's got it. Makes the long throw right on target. And Lee gets out of trouble in the 7th. 2 hits and 2 left. On to the 8th. Mets still down a run. Series tomorrow night. John Neese for the Mets, Zach Greinke for the Dodgers. Our coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow night right here on SNY. Coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night after the postgame show, Michelle Yu will be on hand. Henrik Lundqvist getting ready for Game 3. The Jets at a town hall, huh? Can't imagine what that was all about. Getting ready for a winning season, maybe? We can hope. Jerry's Familia comes on to pitch in the 8th inning.
Well, you see his numbers there in 19 games. His 20th game this year. Familia. Left-handed hitters, 303. You should do better against them with a good sinking fastball.
36-year-old Sean Figgins will be the pinch hitter for the Dodgers. Figgins in his first year in the National League after all those years in Anaheim and Seattle. Didn't play at all in the big leagues last year. Figgins a switch hitter, batting from the left side against Familia. Takes the sinker low for ball 1. Dean Gordon on deck, then Yasiel Puig for the Dodgers as they bid to create some insurance. The Mets have out-hit the Dodgers tonight 11-4. But LA with a 3-2 lead on the strength of 3 solo homers as Brian Wilson gets up in their bullpen.
Seems like Mattingly has confidence in Wilson. Obviously, Wilson's is no stranger to close ball games late.
Well, you've talked about it before, Keith. What's your options? You got to let him pitch out of it. Pitch out of the slump.
There's a strike, 2-1.
He's got a baseball card full of accomplishments. He's gotten off to a horrendous start, but you know what he can do when he's at his best. Only way to do it is to keep going out there.
And he was able to negotiate his way through an inning last night in a close game. Sean Figgins had that great year with the Angels in 2009. He was an all-star. Scored 114 runs, walked 101 times, stole 42 bases, got him a big free agent contract in Seattle, and it just never worked for him with the Mariners.
It's kind of like the big contract that Adrian Beltre signed after his big year with the Dodgers and went to Seattle and now has not found success. He's had an amazing career, but a resurgence in Texas.
Figgins always figured as a National League player, you know, a guy who could play anywhere. But he never played in the National League until this season. He was kind of the Tony Phillips type.
Oh yeah.
You know, with the Angels.
Played against Tony Phillips.
I mean, they play him every day, but somewhere different every day. Tony Phillips played for the Mets briefly right at the end of his career. 2-2. Breaking ball fouled off.
How many times do you say that in sport? Well, so-and-so played with the Mets late in his career.
I said that about Mike Marshall the other day. Right? Here's your Verizon trivia question for tonight. 6 pitchers have won 10 or more games in a season for both the Mets and the Dodgers.
Oh.
Well, I know one of them sitting a few seats to our right.
That's right.
Slap foul.
Oh boy, what a kind of, that was not a swing.
He's even laughing at it.
There's Oral.
Oral Hershiser. Big part of the Mets pitching staff back in 1999. And they broke an 11-year postseason drought. Of course, had spectacular days as a Dodger. 2-2. Driven toward the gap in right center field. Granderson won't get there. Figgins has himself an extra base hit. And he'll stop at second base with a leadoff pinch hit double. Quite at bat for Figgins.
Well, after a horrible half swing, he rips one into the gap.
Just call him Bernie Carbo.
Yeah, right.
Bernie. The man of 1,000 stances. The Lon Chaney of senior of baseball. This ball's ripped into the gap. Nice play by Granderson. Let me tell you, if he doesn't cut that ball off, it's triple.
So the Dodgers have their 5th hit of the game, and all 5 have been for extra bases. 3 home runs, 2 doubles. Now D. Gordon up, and the Mets will look for the bunt.
And a bunt is in order. And see what they play here. If they try to get the lead runner with Puig in the on-deck circle.
Can't run the wheel. Flores is not quick enough to stay up with Figgins. So straight bunt defense. Pitcher covers third. David plays, and it's bunted hard. He makes the play. Crashing by Campbell.
Gordon lays off, and it misses. Gordon 0 for 3 tonight. Flied out, lined into a double play, and struck out. Lorenzo Bundy, the Dodger third base coach.
You bunt the ball down the third base line, and there's nothing the Mets can do. With David in, and they'll have to vacate the third base line. For third base, excuse me.
Scott Rice getting ready for Adrian Gonzalez, 3 batters away. And Gordon gets the bunt down, and Recker's going to have to go to first. And quickly, and Murphy with the stretch. Wide turn at third by Figgins with nobody covering, but he's not coming. 2-4 on the sacrifice.
D. Gordon can fly. Whoa.
Nice stretch by Murph.
Well, Yasiel Puig 1 for 3, a home run his last time up.
He's been red hot. This is his first at bat. That ball was ripped. Got fooled on a slider there, but not there. Not in enough, and that's his 10th home run.
That made it 2-0 Dodgers. And Ramirez followed with a home run of his own to make it 3-0. Mets got 2 runs back on Eric Campbell's home run. And that's where we are, 3-2 in the 8th.
And you got to remember, if you're going to pitch around Puig and maybe set up a double play, we got Ramirez, get the meat of the order coming up with Ramirez and Gonzalez. And don't forget that Puig can steal a base.
And this is where Familia ran into trouble last night. Puig 1 for 3. Henry Mejia about to start throwing as well next to Rice.
Always like to attack first pitch here, particularly with a young pitcher.
Look at those numbers at the first pitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, batting average generally is highest on the first pitch, but that is out of sight. Infield in. Figgins at third, a fast man. Familia makes sure Puig doesn't swing at the first pitch.
And again, when you're catching Familia, because he can throw it on that other side of the plate, defensively as a catcher, just got to act like almost a goalie, ready for anything.
Center field, Lagares in. I know he likes to play shallow, but it's a very strong man. Outfield, even right field, Granderson, they're shallow.
Almost playing like the winning runs on third in the bottom of the ninth. 1-0 to Puig. And a nice stop by Recker. I don't know how he did that. A backhand play like a shortstop in the hole.
This is just very good. Very good reaction. Watch him. He wants to get front first, and he said, I can't get there.
You can make that play maybe 1 out of 10.
They're going to pitch around him here. Right now, you looking for a fastball. If he throws you a slider, you spit on it. Unless he hangs it.
I think I'd give him intentional.
I would walk him. Ramirez is not hitting like Puig is.
Well, they're semi-intentionally walking him, and now you got to give him ball 4.
Don't even take a chance, because you could end up with a pass ball. Just walk him and get to the next hitter.
I tell you what, if they throw him right now, I'm Mattingly, I'd give Puig the hit sign.
Well, they're not giving him intentional ball 4.
Doesn't matter if he gives him a sign or not. He's hit.
And he takes ball 4, and so an intentional walk to Yasiel Puig, and now runners at the corners with 1 out for Hanley Ramirez. Hanley clubbed a home run his last time up.
Well, he got himself the one mistake of the day. Hanley's first at bat, a little ground ball, fastball down and in. Walked on a high fastball, and here's the bomb, which was really one of the few mistakes that Jacob deGrom made today. I thought he pitched a wonderful game.
deGrom went 6, allowed 3 runs, 4 hits. 3 of those 4 hits were home runs. Carlos Torres a 1-2-3 7th, and now Familia trying to get out of trouble in the 8th.
And the Mets going back on their infield now in the corner. Middle infielders playing back for 2.
Hanley's still fast, but not nearly as fast as he used to be. You can double him up. First and third and 1 out. A low throw by Familia. Puig is not a big base stealer. He's got 4 this year in 7 tries. Mejia and Rice staying ready. This will be Familia's last batter, you can be sure, with Gonzalez on deck.
Familia's just got to think of everything down. Slider, fastball. Use that good sink to get a ground ball and hope the Mets can turn it.
Hanley's hit into 5 ground ball double plays this year.
I don't want anything to do with Gonzalez right here. This is the out you got to get.
Up and into Hanley, ball 1.
One of the things they've been able to exploit against Familia is stealing bases, because he's very slow to the plate. Kind of has only one motion to the plate. He doesn't really have a slide step.
Recker's going to go out for a conversation. Final score in Atlanta, the Brewers beat the Braves 6-1. Mark Reynolds at a first inning grand slam off Irvin Santana, and that's all they needed. So the Brewers snap a 4-game losing streak. Figgins at third, Puig at first with 1 out. 1-0 to Ramirez.
Right back to Familia. He hesitates, and they only get 1, and a run comes home. A tailor-made comebacker for a double play, but the Mets only get 1 out, and Figgins scores to make it 4-2.
All right, who covers on the double play here?
Well, the problem, they both covered. That's why he held the ball.
Yes.
He wasn't sure who to throw it to.
What's going on?
They both are coming at the same time to cover the bag. He looks back and doesn't know who to throw it to. Now, when you're a pitcher, I was taught you let it go. Forget about the infielders.
Right.
Your job is to throw it to the bag. You decide.
There's a lack of communication there. That's another mental error by this ball club.
Well, the Mets have been making mistakes like that with regularity, and this one cost them an extra run. Scott Rice coming in. We'll be right back. Through the 8th inning on what looked like a sure double play. Instead, he gives up a run.
Well, part of pitching is fielding your position, and I know it's confusing for Jay Urias, but you got to let that ball fly. But it's hard when both guys are converging on the bag, which happened with both Flores and Murphy.
Now the question is, whose responsibility was it to cover, and what happened?
I've got to remember one thing. There was a mound. Dan Warthen came out to the mound. So there probably was, hopefully you see Scott Rice in the game now, that it was probably decided who was going to cover. It had to be. That's just baseball 101. Now Murph was closer. You got a right-hand hitter. I got to think it was Murph's job to cover, and he was there. And I think Flores. I'm totally speculating.
Ramirez ran and had the base stolen easily, but Gonzalez swings and fouls it off, and so Hanley will go back.
So. There's a double play and the inning's over, Ronnie.
So maybe the inexperience of Flores not playing the position in a few years caused some anxiety and excitement to try to make the play. You can understand that happening.
I mean, it's hard to imagine that it was anything but Murphy's responsibility in that case with Hanley Ramirez up.
But all you pitchers out there, it's not your job. Your job is as soon as you turn, you throw the ball to second base. It's up to them to decide who's going to catch it and turn it.
Rice came in to face Gonzalez last night. He walked him. This time he gets ahead of him 0-2. Gonzalez opened the scoring tonight with his 12th home run of the year, leading off the second.
It's just a high slider right in the middle of the plate.
Beat him, actually. Jeez, very seldom you see that. He walked Gonzalez last night on 6 pitches.
Now the 0-2 from Rice. And Gonzalez takes low and in.
So as the pitcher, as soon as you get it, you have to turn, crow hop, and throw it to second base. It doesn't matter who's covering. It helps when you know who's covering because you can lead him to the bag. But you have to turn and throw just because of the magnitude of that 2 outs that you had to get.
Well, that's a question for the media after the ball game with Terry Collins. Who was supposed to cover in that ball? Because that'll come out, and whoever was not supposed to cover made the mental error. And that cost a huge run.
Well, it's 2 mental errors, really, right? One by the middle infielder and one by the pitcher.
Yes.
1-2 to Gonzalez. Goes to throw over. Ramirez caught stealing back in the 4th with Gonzalez at the plate. Was running on the first pitch on first movement from Rice and had the base stolen easily before Gonzalez fouled it off. Now the 1-2. Little tapper back to Rice. Nice job by Scott. Side retired, but the Dodgers get a gift run. We go to the bottom of the 8th. LA 4, Mets 2. Tremendous catches this year. Another one tonight for the Marlins. Brian Wilson on to pitch the 8th.
Well, we had a starting pitcher wearing 99. We got the 66 of Puig. And we got the 00 of Wilson, who gave up a hit in last night's game, but got out of that mini jam with a strikeout.
We'll face a different part of the batting order tonight. Granderson, Campbell, and Flores, the 3 batters do. Mets down 4-2 as they come to bat in the 8th.
Wilson threw a lot of pitches last night, did he not, Gary?
He threw 21 in that 8th inning.
He labored.
Granderson 1 for 3. Dodgers shift against him, and Curtis takes a strike.
Well, here's Curtis's night. Striking out in a slider, up and in fastball, and then on a slider out of the strike zone, kind of just pokes one into left field.
Dunkaroo.
A duck snort.
Wilson quickly up on the count 0-2.
2 perfect backdoor cutters by Wilson.
Eric Campbell, who hit his first big league home run in his last at bat, waits on deck. Granderson hits one shallow left, but in comes Crawford. 1 out. So now Campbell, who celebrated in the 6th.
He got himself a little changeup, looked like Ronnie.
Yeah,
and he's been impressive. He's got a good short swing. He stays level. Got a good knowledge of the strike zone.
He does for a big guy. Well, usually when you see these big, tall guys have a longer, bigger swing, he doesn't. He has got a short cut.
6'3", 205. And he takes a strike. Box score presented by Chrysler. David Wright, a 3-hit night. 7th time this year he's had 3 or more hits.
Well, the Mets about hit the Dodgers 11-5.
Campbell was never a big home run hitter in the minor leagues. Most he hit in a minor league season was 10. That was back in 2010. And 3 this year for Vegas. But he's hit line drives all over the ballpark in his brief big league tenure.
You know, Gary, I would tell you what happens to a lot of big guys once they make the minor leagues is a lot of, I'm not saying the Mets did this, but a lot of organizations try to say, hey, you're a big man, you should hit the ball out of the park. And a lot of these guys with this short stroke have to fight against that because they're line drive hitters by nature. Perfect for this ballpark.
7 hits and 15 at bats so far for Campbell. Lines that one foul. J.P. Howell staying busy in the Dodger bullpen.
Wilson looks a lot better tonight, doesn't he? Not laboring. That cutter's where he wants it.
One-two to Campbell. Off the plate. 95 from Wilson.
He let it go
a couple of times last night.
Yeah, he did.
Henry Mejia, I think, is going to pitch the 9th inning no matter what. It's been a few days since he's been in a game. Wilmer Flores on deck. 2-2 to Campbell. Just off the plate. It's a pitch that's been called a strike at times tonight.
He brought it back. Dismissed. Good eye.
So Campbell's worked himself from behind in the count. 3-2 from Wilson. And a slow ground ball for Gordon. 2 out.
Good slider.
Well, Jacob deGrom, second big league start. Lost the first one 1-0. Gave up 3 runs in 6 innings tonight. And is on the short end. Here's Wilmer Flores, 2 for 3, 2 base hits to right field. 2 of the 11 Met hits in this game. And a curveball from Wilson in for a strike.
Making up pitches.
I don't think I've ever seen him throw a curveball before.
He feels good tonight, Wilson. Much better than he did last night. That's what happens when you get the older pitcher who's had a couple of injuries. 2 Tommy Johns, I believe, for Wilson. Is that sometimes it feels 100%, sometimes it does not.
There's the scar.
I got one of those. Mine is not. I guess I'm telling you guys, I did not have Tommy John, but in those days when they used to go in and just clean your elbow, you'd still get a big scar.
Back in those prehistoric days.
Exactly. Used to do it with a mallet.
Or pocket knife.
Yes. Swiss Army knife.
And so much has changed. Used to be if you had a knife of a torn meniscus, you're out 2 weeks. Used to be that was 6-month rehab. 2-2 from Wilson, and Flores fouls it away.
Well, I tell people this all the time. When I first started playing, people go, boy, there's so many elbow injuries now. I said, there's elbow injuries when I first started playing. You know what that meant when you had an elbow injury? You went home and you got a regular job. You were out of baseball for good. They didn't have it.
There's a guy who had Tommy John surgery. First year out in professional ball.
More shoulder injuries in my day.
Taken the other way, and Flores has his 3rd hit of the night. All 3 to right field. And that gets the tying run to bat for the Mets here in the 8th.
And a very dangerous Anthony Recker. And they keep on wanting to pitch Flores away. Not just kind of a little slap right there, a little broom sweep. Not a full swing.
Currently.
Second career 3-hit game for Flores. He had one last August against the Tigers. So now Recker, who can hit one out, comes up as the tying run. Anthony's 0 for 3 tonight, hitless in his last 9 at bats to drop his batting average under 200.
He's been victimized by the pitch away.
And that's where Wilson starts him. Lucas Duda on deck to pinch hit if Recker can keep the inning going. They've got J.P. Howell, the lefty, up in the bullpen. Recker takes a rip, 1-1.
He takes a rip.
Anthony tends to hit his home runs in big spots. 9 home runs as a Met. 7 of them have either tied the game or given the Mets the lead. Flores at first and 2 out. Recker takes a slider off the plate. 2-1.
That beard's looking a little chopped up, isn't it?
Yep. Probably by design. That cutter misses. 3-1. So Recker's got the count the way he wants it.
The ball's down, I believe.
You got Abreu on the bench.
(3-1) from Wilson, and Recker hits the comebacker past the mound right to Ramirez, and the force play ends the inning. Mets strand their 9th runner of the night. They trail 4-2 after 8. All right, guys, time for the Verizon trivia question. We asked which 6 pitchers have won 10 or more for the Mets and Dodgers. Well, we know Bobby O is one of them.
Yeah, Orel.
And Orel.
Pedro, of course. Oh, Capuano.
The two Pedros and Capuano last year.
Oh, I forgot about Estacio.
Yep.
What was his nickname? He had a great nickname.
Pedro Estacio?
Yeah. The Bull or something like that. I thought he had a good...
The Mule.
The Mule.
Mule.
That's what it was.
SNY Super Slow Motion brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. Henry Mejia, the nominal sort of closer of the moment, will pitch in a non-save situation in the 9th inning.
Well, there's Henry's numbers on the year. You usually don't see this with your closer, but, you know, this happens when you're starting to get someone from the starting position into the bullpen and making sure they get enough work. So Henry's going to get an inning here in the 9th.
Last pitched in Washington on Saturday in the Mets 5-2 win when he picked up his first big league save. Matt Kemp leads off in the top of the 9th and takes a strike. Kemp 1 for 3, doubled back in the 5th inning. Kemp, Crawford, and Turner for the Dodgers here in the 9th. Odd totals on the board. The Dodgers 4 runs, 5 hits. The Mets 2 runs, 12 hits. But the Dodgers have hit 3 home runs tonight, and the Mets have stranded 9 base runners. Past the mound, Flores to his left, gets there, and throws out Kemp. 1 out. So 1 out and nobody on for Carl Crawford. Hey, remember last night Adam Wainwright threw a 1-hitter for the Cardinals against the Diamondbacks?
Yes.
Through 6. Michael Wacha's got a 2-hit shutout going tonight. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch right there.
Diamondbacks coming in.
Will be here this weekend. Crawford hit a bullet that David Wright made a diving catch on last time up.
Looks like their stud in the minor leagues, Archibald Bradley, is feeling better now and throwing, so that's a good sign. Maybe we'll stay away from Tommy John.
Rolled down to Campbell, and 2 quick outs from Mejia in the 9th. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, the Mets will have 9, 1, and 2 in the order, so they can choose from Duda or Abreu against the Dodger closer Kenley Jansen, then Lagares and Murphy, and if anybody gets on, David Wright will get a turn in the 9th as well.
I think you've got to bat Abreu first because of his ability to get on base and maybe save Duda down the line, maybe for Chris Young's at bat. If you get enough on, right?
Here's Justin Turner, 0 for 3 tonight. The Dodgers have said that with Uribe going on the disabled list today that they do not plan to move Hanley Ramirez over to third. So that means Turner's going to get some playing time. There's Ned Colletti, the Dodger general manager, the steward of the $230 million payroll. And the curveball in for a strike to Turner.
Good pitch by Henry. Crisp.
Justin gets to play in his native Southern California now. Grew up in Long Beach, went to Cal State Fullerton, and back on the West Coast as a major leaguer for the first time. 1-2 from Mejia. Smack to right. Granderson over toward the line. And he gets there. Nice play right up against the sidewall. Beautiful play by Granderson with space running out. Helps Mejia to a 1-2-3 inning. Last looks for the Mets, down 4-2. It's from Terrence by Instagram. All the buddies tonight. Nicely done. Kenley Jansen, the Curacao native, the Dodger closer, is in.
Well, it's been a little tougher for him this year, but last year, lights out year, a little over 70 innings, 111 punch outs and 28 saves. He's going for his 13th tonight.
Worked a 1-2-3 inning last night. He'll come in to face Bobby Abreu, pinch hitting, leading off in the last of the night.
And Bobby 2 for 10 as a pinch hitter so far.
Well, the Mets have done very little against Kenley Jansen in his major league career. He got his first big league save against them 4 years ago. And in 15 career innings against the Mets, he's allowed 1 run. So the Mets will try and fight that history here in the bottom of the ninth against a guy who throws all cutters.
I remember that game. We were talking mostly about him being a catcher that was turned into a reliever. We don't talk about that catching too much anymore.
It's got to be on that. Juan Lagares on deck, then Daniel Murphy here in the last of the ninth. Mets trying to avoid a 3rd straight loss and a 6th in their last 7 games. Jacob deGrom started. Went 6 innings, but he's on the hook in this game after giving up 3 solo home runs. One and one to Abreu, played some for the Dodgers 2 years ago, and he breaks his bat and lines one to Ramirez as the barrel went sailing past Jansen. 1 out.
And a big out right here. Want to get that leadoff out. Little cutter got in there enough, but bat just sawed off.
So now Lagares, who has 2 hits tonight, the last one was a bunt hit. Maybe he'll try it again. Has to get on any way he can to get Murphy and Wright up there in a 2-run game, and Turner will play in a little closer this time.
He certainly will.
Goes after that first cutter, 0-1. Lagares 2 for 4 tonight. Wilmer Flores with a 3-hit game tonight. Mets have had 12 hits, just not the big hit. Into a couple of double plays, left 9 on base. 1-1 to Lagares. The Dodger bullpen came in struggling big time. But they threw 4 scoreless innings last night. 2 1/3 scoreless so far tonight. Lagares chasing one. 1-2.
Keith, if you're a left-handed hitter, right-handed hitter is tough enough because it's working away from you. If you're a left-handed hitter, would you be tempted to step away from the plate a little bit? Half a step back?
No, between for the cutter?
Yeah.
I choke up a little more.
Okay.
Get a little more barrel in there.
Lagares drives one to right center. Long one for Kemp. He won't get there. That's up against the wall. Lagares to second. He'll take a turn and try for 3. The relay throw by Gordon is not in time. Second triple of the year for Lagares, his 3rd hit of the night, and the Mets will get the tying run to the plate. Well, if you're going to take the extra base there, you better make it.
Yeah, well, he knew he was going to make it, and what a game by Juan, playing him certainly with a heavy heart.
And a little bit surprised Kemp playing so shallow. 2-run lead, nothing gets over your head. This ball didn't exactly get to the warning track. And he turns it on. He knew it. He read it all the way. Nicely done. Bell tie fastball. He's a very strong young man.
So now Murphy comes to the plate as the tying run in a 4-2 game. Murph 1 for 4 tonight. And he fouls back the first pitch cutter. Murphy 1 for 4 in his career against Jansen. David Wright on deck. That's now with 13 hits Mets still down a deuce. Pulled to the right side. Gordon flashing over, gets there. The spin around, he gets the out. A run comes in, but more importantly, they're now 2 down. It's a 4-3 game as Lagares comes home, but the Mets are down to their final out.
Well, look at Gonzalez, the veteran, knows he can't get it. Gordon ranges way to his left.
I don't think I'd ever say this, but I think D. Gordon might be a better second baseman than he was a shortstop. Incredible range, incredible arm.
He certainly found a home there. So now the Mets are down to their final out, 2 out and nobody on, and David Wright coming to the bat. David is 0 for 3 against Jansen. It's only the second run the Mets have ever scored against Kenley Jansen. But it'll be cold comfort if Wright can't keep it going. Lucas Duda out on deck to pinch hit for Young. And a cutter in for a strike.
A little bit deeper in the outfield. Puig way back on right.
Boy, how big does that mistake in the 8th inning that gave the Dodgers their 4th run look now?
Whenever you're playing tight games, I mean, those kind of plays are, you have to make them if you're going to win ball games.
And it's unable to turn a double play on a comebacker, and it cost them the extra run.
The old adage, you can't give the good teams 4 outs.
Yeah. Jansen just threw a very rare breaking ball. Bounced it. 1-1 now to right. And he hits it in the air down the right field side. That'll go out of play. 1-2. So now Jacob deGrom and the Mets are down to their final strike. Clayton Kershaw not pitching in this series. Wright is 3 for 4 tonight, 2 singles and a double. Trying to keep the Mets alive. 1-2 from Jansen. Too high. Zach Greinke goes tomorrow night for the Dodgers. Off to a spectacular start.
He's pretty good.
John Neese for the Mets. 2-2 from Jansen to Wright. Struck him out and the ball game is over. Kenley Jansen gives up a run, but strikes out Wright to end it.